welcome to another VDC stream match. Come on down, the water is fine here with the high tide. You can enjoy a nice cup of cold brew with me and Retired God as we enjoy this match. You have a match between KC Cold Brew and HT. What are you thinking tonight so far, Retired?
You know what, man? I'm pretty stoked to see how this one plays out. I mean, like you said, we got KC Cold Brew, you know, enjoy a nice little cup. But then you also have some raging high tides. It could turn out either way. I could see this being a toss up. I'm pretty excited to see how this one ends up.
And Crest definitely, for High Tide's team, is definitely one of the better performing ones so far this season. They've had a 18-12 record to finish out the season. But something to note is the three players on this team between Tavasi, Aki, and Drag are three players who are really good with each other as far as their connection, their communication, overall their friendship. They've known each other for a while, so they definitely gel really well. And then for KC, they already have that winning experience, winning the season last season, and bringing some of those players back. So it's
Yeah,
definitely going to be a fun matchup, seeing at least two teams fight each other, and overall what the match is going to be like.
absolutely. I mean, I know from talking to VK, Jam, Karan, they're pretty hungry to go back to back. You know, they got some new pickups in Trico and Otter, aka Honda Sleep, hashtag tired. You know what I mean? But
Mm-hmm.
so they got that hunger. But the question is the hunger enough? You know what I mean? It's gonna be interesting. Like you said, Casey really hoping to go back to back. They also have had a successful season, being 15-7. Then you have HT 18-12 coming in at the third or fourth seed, if I recall correctly. Um, but this is going to be a tough one. I don't know what their matchup was in the middle of the season, but I'd have to imagine it'd be somewhat similar, maybe 2-2. But I'm interested to see how this one plays out.
Yeah, I know a little bit, like I said, about the team over at HT with the players there. I would have to say the X factor for this team definitely going to be Aki. When Aki is on their game, they definitely frag out. I think if they're able to play well, like I know they've been able to in the past, then that could be the deciding factor for them to win. If they're not playing as well, that might not um, be what they need, obviously, in order
Yeah.
to get them to that win. So, what do you think the X factor is going to be for KC?
Well, the X factor, in my opinion, on a normal day, I would say how Otter plays is going to determine the game. Because if Otter's playing, if Otter is shooting, Otter is really good. And I hate to say that because she has cooked us in too many games that I would like to admit. But uh, Byzantine is subbing in for KC, so I think it's going to come down to if Byzantine, can play up to the standards that KC is used to. You also have Verb, C Verb. Uh, the media sheets don't really tell me how to pronounce it, but they're also, could be a shot in the dark. Not the primary roster that they've been playing with all season. So it's going to be interesting to see how that all plays out here. Um, but yeah, quick correction by the way. Like I said, media sheets weren't updated. Cold Brew finished 21-15, not 15-7, and High Tide finished 19-17, not 18-12. So they were at 18-12 at one point. That means they went 1-6 the last few match days. So we'll see if their momentum can carry them, or if they run into a wall of coffee.
Yeah, and that might be exactly why they brought in someone like Drag. Because if things weren't recently going well for them to close out the season, maybe all they need in order to have a good deep playoff run is to bring in a new vibe, a new player. And I feel like if that can end up working out, especially with these three already knowing each other, already having good chemistry with each other, then that's definitely going to contribute to their success tonight.
Absolutely. Sorry.
And I
Had to get
haven't.
had to get map picks and bans figured out.
Mhm.
But perfect. I believe we're going to be jumping in to map picks and bans shortly.
And bear with us, everyone who is watching. This is going to be a little bit of a scuffed dream tonight.
I am
We
interested
have
to see how Drag falls into this high tide roster. I mean, you already have some firepower with Tavasi, providing they play an op agent, aka Chamber. However, we have seen Tavasi play on different agents and still play well. I mean, sometimes they're just on one, and they can be pretty scary, but so can Drag. So, like you said, bringing in Drag is going to be interesting to change kind of that downward trajectory that High Tide had finished with at the end of the regular season. And clearly, I mean, you saw them win the first the quarterfinal matchup. So here they are in the semifinals playing against KC, who, like you said, has a championship under their belt. It's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out at the end of the day. But we might be jumping in to map picks and bans. Oh,
we have a little bit of a visual. Here we go.
oh, off we go. I believe.
All right, looks like we're starting our map bans. I think just because of what I know with Tavasi and Aki, they may opt to ban Breeze here. I could be wrong.
You know,
But
I wouldn't be surprised though, because I feel like, especially in Apprentice, Breeze was a map that was very rarely picked. Very rarely picked during the season. So I would not be surprised if that was the case.
mhm.
However, I mean, like you said, well, I don't know if you did say this or not, but you have VK and Trico, both Jet players. However, when Trico plays Jet, you see VK on Chamber, and Tavasi's on Chamber, or can also play Chamber. So I feel like Breeze could be an interesting situation where you see a Trico VK Chamber Jet, and then potentially a Tavasi on Chamber as well. That would be a cool one to see.
Mm-hmm. And being able to watch VK just from last season's playoffs, he definitely had that ability just to carry almost any map. I remember specifically them playing against OS when Spence was still on the Apprentice team, and he just absolutely shut down every move that Spence was trying to make on Lotus at A main. Anytime he pushed, VK was able to shut that down. So hopefully we're able to see. Definitely, we're looking for a close game. I like close games. I don't have any particular side that I'm rooting for. I like all these players personally, but I'm just looking forward to good gameplay.
Absolutely. And I mean, we are in the semifinals after all, so I'd have to imagine we should see some solid gameplay. You know, these teams didn't get here for no reason, so I'd like to believe that we'll see some solid gameplay. But with that, I believe we are off into picks and bans. So High Tide has the first ban, then goes KC, High Tide, KC, and then High Tide pick, KC pick. Might be wrong. However, I might be wrong. And first ban is Ascent. So High Tide opting to ban Ascent. I think that does make sense, however, because I feel like the Ascent from High Tide was fairly weak during the regular season.